President John Mahama says his government will properly manage the oil revenues and through strict accountability and development. He says expenditure of oil revenue will be guided by international norms, recommendations of the extractive industry, transparency and national laws. The president said this when he interacted with the EU Commissioner for Development, Mr. Andries Pierbalgs, in Malabo, from where Napoleon Atukito reports.
You cannot visit Equatorial Guinea without referring to oil and matters arising. Oil has worked like magic for the small Central African nation with a population of a little less than 1 million. Some have alleged that the country's wealth are in the hands of only a few, the political class. However, that oil money is making some difference in Equatorial Guinea, at least in terms of infrastructural development, cannot be in doubt. Ghana, which is one of the ACP states which posted remarkable growth in the last 2 years, is taking a cue from Equatorial Guinea. Ghana's leader John Dramani Mahama met with the EU Commissioner for Development, Mr. Andries Pierbalgs, in Malabo, where management of petroleum revenue took center stage. President Mahama said the government will account for oil revenue expenditures every step of the way.
At the beginning of the year, the Minister of Finance must estimate to Parliament how much he expects to get in revenues from the oil sector, and then he must indicate in which areas he intends to spend that money, and Parliament has to approve it. And then at the end of the year, he has to present a report to Parliament to show how much he received, in which areas he has used it, and how he has used it. And he must account to Parliament for that. We have a public interest and accountability committee that reviews the report after he has finished, and they issue a report to indicate whether the money was properly used, and if there are any concerns about any misapplication of the money, it comes out in the report. So we've put in a lot of mechanisms to ensure that these things are done and done properly.
The civil society have been quite satisfied. Well, you have very active,
very active.
But they have been basically satisfied with the legal framework and their rights.
Yeah.
So I think that demonstrates that you have found the right balance.
Yeah.
President Mahama had a serious take on public sector reforms as he urged a performance-based public services to partner the private sector. He said Ghana stands to gain from additional 850 megawatts of power if small dams and the Ghana Gas Company become fully operational. President Mahama also held bilateral talks with President Obiang Nguema in Basogo, who invited him to pay a state visit to his country. With interruptions in supplies from the West African gas pipeline, Ghana could have an eye for alternatives which could come from Equatorial Guinea. Napoleon Atukito, Malabo.